Okay, ready? Redwall. We are in part 1 and we are in chapter 11. And just remember, Cluny had just made his demands that they surrender and they told him to go take a hike. So, here we go. And they had also sent out the Hedgehog to go see if there were anybody that hadn't heard the warning bell and needed to come to refuge. Okay. Chapter 11. Later that evening, Brother Alf was patrolling his stretch of the wall when he noticed a movement in the ferns at the edge of Mossflower Wood. Constance and Matthias were summoned hastily. They peered over the parapet as Brother Alf pointed to where he had seen the ferns moving. Over there, to the right of that aspen. Look, they're moving again. Matthias had better nocturnal vision than either of his friends. He was the first to recognize the forlorn figure that rolled onto the grass. It's Ambrose Spike. He's hurt. Quick, let's get down there. Hold fast, Constance warned. It may be a trap. Matthias was loath to hang about whilst a creature was lying injured within his sight, but he had to heed his friend's advice. There just might be some of Cluny's rats lying in ambush for any creature that ventured into the shadowy fringes of Mossflower. However, Matthias was growing impatient. We can't leave poor Ambrose lying out there, Constance. He'll die. We've got to do something. The badger sat down with her snout between her paws. Yes, we've got to think. Anyone got an idea? The two mice joined her. Hardly had Matthias sat down when he leaped up again. I've got it! Stay here! I'll be back in a tick! Brother Alf watched the little figure flip-flopping off. He gave a sigh and shook his head. What do you suppose our Matthias is up to? The badger smiled affectionately. More and more she was coming to trust Matthias's natural skill as a leader and tactician. Don't fret, Brother Alf. Whatever it is, you can bet your habit it'll be an original Matthias gem. That youngster has got more in his head than a pile of acorns. Brother Alf looked out at the still form in the grass. It may be too late. Ambrose isn't even twitching. Look, he's not rolled up into a ball anymore. Did you know that hedgehogs do that? They have all spikes on their back, and when they're under attack, they roll up into a ball and they look like all spikes. Let's see now. Further speculation was curtailed by the appearance of Matthias. With him were half a dozen moles. Their leader glanced out at the hedgehog. He scratched some hasty calculations on the wall with his claw, then turned to Matthias. Oh, I think we can get on Edge Pig back, sir. You get us out in the gate and stand and watch. Turning to his team, the foremole, for that was his official title, began discussing tunnel width coupled with reverse prickle drag, forward traction, and all the other specialist details that are routine to the average qualified tunnel mole. Matthias whispered to Constance and Brother Alf, the foremole and his crew are first class at rescue work. They've often rescued burrowers from cave-ins. All we have to do is stand guard by the southeast wicket gate until they're safely back. Right. What are we waiting for? Let's go, said the badger. Silently they slid through the small green-painted iron door, Matthias straining his eyes anxiously to see if there were any signs of life in the hedgehog. He lay still, about 150 mouse paces from where they stood. The moles unraveled the rope sling. Four moles stood watching as two of his team started to dig. Matthias looked on in wonderment. 1 minute they were above ground. A moment later there was a veritable shower of loam and topsoil as they vanished beneath the earth, nature's own technicians. In a trice they were back, moist snouts poking from the excavation. They made their ground report to the foremole. Har him and noise and soft, sir. Ain't no rock nor root nor stop us and straight for we ma thinkin'. Satisfied, the foremole moved towards the test hole with the rest of his team. We'll dig ahead, you and Warden Workins. Gaffer and Marge, Flora Shorin. He tugged his snout respectfully to Matthias and Constance. You and Gammelbeast bide here till us back. Another quick shower of soft, dark earth, and the moles were lost to view beneath the ground surface. Constance sniffed the breeze as Matthias turned his ears to the nighttime woodland sounds. They watched the ground humping into a continuous hillock that progressed further as the moles tunneled towards Ambrose Spike. The night remained calm and still, but Matthias and Constance stayed alert, both knowing if they failed to observe this rudimentary law of nature, the penalty could be fatal. Matthias did a little shuffle of excitement. Look, they've come up right under old Ambrose. My word, what splendid moles. Good heavens, he's vanished completely. They must have him inside the tunnel. In a surprisingly short time, the tunnelers were back. Emerging from the hole, they carried the hedgehog in the rope sling across their backs, refusing any help from the badger or the mouse. The foremole merely tugged his snout. Nay, May, you uns get your paws dirted. As swiftly as possible, Ambrose was hurried to the Abbey infirmary and sick bay. He was attended by the abbot himself. A hasty diagnosis revealed that the hedgehog was suffering from a long, jagged wound that ran from the back of his ear to the tip of his paw. Brother Alf nodded sympathetically. That's probably what caused old Ambrose to pass out. Pain and loss of blood. He must have traveled a fair way in that condition. Do you think he'll live, Father Abbot? The abbot chuckled quietly. He cleaned the long, ugly wound and applied a poultice of herbs. No cause for alarm, Brother Elf. Ambrose Spike is made of leather and needles. Tough as a boulder, this old ruffian is. Look, he's beginning to come around already. Sure enough, after some peculiar grunts and much curling and uncurling, the hedgehog opened his eyes and looked above. Oh, my aching ear! Father Abbot, you wouldn't see a poor son of the Spike suffering like this without a drop of last October's nut brown ale to wet his parched gullet, he pleaded. All the creatures laughed aloud with delight and relief at seeing their old friend alive and well once again. Matthias was astonished at the amount of nut brown ale which Ambrose supped before he deemed himself fit enough to make a report. The hedgehog smacked his lips noisily. Ah, that's better. Now, let me see. I did as you asked me, and gave as many creatures fair warning as I could. The Joseph bell helped a great deal to warn everyone. Well, to cut a long story short, it must have been near noon when I stopped at Vole Bank. I told the voles the bad news, and blow me if that little ninny, Colin Vole, didn't go shrieking and screaming all over the place as to show how they'd all be murdered in their beds. Believe me, there was no way of silencing the daft young thing. Anyhow, his noise must have alerted a pack of those rats who were out foraging. Before you could say knife, they were upon us. There was such a gang of them that I couldn't do anything. I had to curl up. They carried off young Colin and his mom and dad, but try as they would, there was no laying claws on Ambrose Spike. No, sir. Then one of them had a go at me with the point of an iron churchyard railing. Stabbed away at me, the devil did. They reckoned I was dead. Said I was too spiky to eat, so they dragged the Vole family off, and I lay still till the coast was clear. I made it as far as Mossflower, and that's all I can remember. Is there any more left in that jug? This one's giving me I need ale for medicinal purposes. Father Abbot? Matthias groaned and hung his head in despair. The Vole family taken captive, death or slavery, was all the wretched creatures could look forward to. Emboldened by the rescue of the hedgehog, Matthias was about to suggest that he and Constance, together with some hand-picked helpers, venture to undertake a rescue mission to St. Ninian's Church. It was as if the rabbit, or excuse me, it was as if the abbot and Constance both read his thoughts at the same time. Abbot Mortimer sighed and shook his head at Matthias. The badger was more voluble. Matthias, forget it. Abandon any hopes you have of snatching the Vole family from under Cluny's nose. Imagine it, a few of us going up against several hundred armed rats in their own camp. Ridiculous. A fat lot of good we'd be as defenders of Redwall with our heads fixed to Cluny's standard. Matthias, you're a very brave young mouse, so please try to set an example to the rest of us by not becoming a foolish or a dead one. On reflection, Matthias could see the wisdom of the badger's counsel. Long after they had all retired for the night, he sat up thinking. 100 mad ideas pounded through his brain, each one wilder than the last. Feeling at a loss, he wandered up into the great hall and stood in front of the tapestry. Without consciously realizing it, he found himself talking to Martin the warrior. "Oh, Martin, what would you have done in my place? I know that I'm only a young mouse, a novice, not even a proper Redwall member yet, but once you were young too. I know what you would have done. You'd have buckled on your armor, picked up your mighty sword, gone down to that church, and battled with the rats until they released the vole or perished beneath your blade. But alas, those days are gone. I have no magic sword to aid me, only the advice of my elders and betters, to which I must listen." Matthias sat down on the cool stone floor. He gazed longingly up at Martin the warrior, so proud and so brave. What a dashing figure he cut. Looking back down to himself in his baggy green robes and oversized sandals, Matthias felt hot tears of shame and frustration spilling from his eyes and dripping on his young whiskers. Unable to stop himself, he wept freely. Then the soft touch of a gentle paw on his back caused him to look around. It was Cornflower. Matthias wished he were dead. He quickly turned his face away, knowing she could see his tears. "Cornflower, please go away," Matthias sobbed. "I don't want you to see me like this." The little field mouse, however, would not go. She sat down on the floor next to Matthias. Taking the edge of her pinafore, she softly wiped away his tears. For such a shy little mouse, she had quite a bit to say. "Matthias, don't be ashamed. I know why you cry and grieve. It is because you are kind and good, not a hard-hearted, pitiless rat like Cluny. Please listen to me. Even the strongest and bravest must sometimes weep. It shows that they have a great heart, one that can feel compassion for others. You are brave, Matthias. Already you have done great things for one so young. I am only a simple country-bred field mouse, but even I can see the courage and leadership in you. A burning brand shows the way, and each day your flame grows brighter. There is none like you, Matthias. You have the sign of greatness upon you. One day, Redwall and all the land will be indebted to you. Matthias, you are a true warrior." Matthias, with his eyes dry and his head held high, stood up. He felt himself stand taller than ever before. He helped Cornflower to her feet and bowed to her. "Cornflower, how can I ever thank you for what you have said? You too are a very special mouse. It is late now. Go and get some rest. I think I will stay here a little bit longer." The field mouse untied her headband. It was her favorite one, pale yellow, bordered with the cornflowers after which she was named. She tied it to Matthias's arm, the right one, just above his elbow, a maiden's colors for her champion warrior. Silently she crept off. Matthias could feel his heart beating against his chest. He spoke to the image of Martin. "Thank you, warrior. You spoke to me through Cornflower. You gave me the sign that I asked of you." Okay. Yeah, we've got time for another chapter. Chapter 12. Okay. At the church of St. Ninian, Cluny sat in the wreckage of what had once been a pulpit. Redtooth, Darkclaw, Cheese Thief, and Fangburn lounged about at his feet on old burst hassocks. Cluny was in one of his strange moods again. He showed little interest in the captive Vole family, merely ordering that they be kept under guard till he found some time to deal with them. Most of his army slept in the choir loft or the ladies' chapel. The rest were posted on sentry duty outside. Cautiously, his captains watched the warlord. Excuse me. Cluny's long tail swished restlessly. The single eye stared at a carved eagle holding the rotting lectern on its outspread wings. What thoughts occupied the dark, devious mind of Cluny, the scourge? Finally, he looked up and spoke. Go and get the shadow. Bring him here to me. Darkclaw and Fangburn scurried off to obey the command. Silently, the others waited, their eyes glinting in evil anticipation. The chief had a plan. Like all of his schemes, it would be cunningly simple and wickedly brilliant. There was no better general than Cluny when it came to strategy. The shadow had been with Cluny for many years. Nobody was sure if he was a rat or weasel, or even a bit of both. He was very lithe and wiry, and his long, sinewy body was covered in sleek black fur. There was no hint of another color in his coat. It was blacker than moonless midnight, sorry. His eyes were strangely slanted, dark and black without any brightness in them. The eyes of the shadow were like those of a dead thing. He stood before Cluny, who had to strain his one eye against the darkness of the church to make sure he was really there. Shadow, is that you? The reply sounded like a whisper of wet silk across smooth slate. Cluny, I am here. What do you want with the shadow? The captains shivered at the sound of his voice. Cluny leaned forward. Did you see the walls of that abbey today? I was there. The shadow sees all. Tell me true. Could you climb them? No beast I know of could climb those walls. Except you? Except me. Cluny gestured with his tail. Come closer then. I will tell you what must be done. Shadow sat down on the top pulpit step. Cluny issued his orders. You will climb the abbey wall. Many sentries patrol the top, so take the utmost care. If you get captured, you are of no use to me. There is no point in one creature trying to attack the guardhouse and open the door alone. It is too well guarded, so forget the gate. The shadow gave no hint that Cluny had inadvertently read his mind. He remained motionless as Cluny continued. Once you have scaled the wall, make for the main abbey door. Should it be locked for the night, you will use all your skill to open it without making any noise. It is vital that you get inside. The first room you will find yourself in is the main one. The mice call it the Great Hall. Walk in, turn around, and on the left, facing you, is a long tapestry covered in pictures and designs. Now listen carefully. In the bottom right-hand corner of that tapestry is a picture of a mouse, dressed in armor, leaning on a big sword. I want it. Cut it, rip it, or tear it out, but get it for me. I must have it. Don't come back without it, Shadow. Puzzlement was written on the faces of the four captains who had overheard the orders. A picture of a mouse? Cluny had never been known as a collector of pictures. Fangburn whispered to Cheese Thief, What use is a picture of a mouse to the chief? Cluny heard. He came to the edge of the pulpit. Grasping the sides of the lectern, he surveyed his small congregation like some satanic minister. Ah, Brother Fangburn, let me explain. I will tell you why it is that you and all your kind will forever remain servants, while I shall always be your master. Did you not see the faces of those mice today? The mere mention of Martin the warrior sends them into ecstasies. Don't you see? He is their symbol. His name means the same to those mice as mine does to the horde. In a different way, maybe. Martin is some sort of angel. I'm the opposite. Think for a moment. If anything were to happen to me, you'd all be a leaderless rabble, a headless mob. So, If the mice were to lose their most precious omen, the picture of Martin, where would that leave them? Redtooth slapped his haunches. He rocked to and fro, sniggering with uncontrolled glee. Brilliant, Chief! Diabolical! They'd just be a crowd of terrified little mice without their wonderful Martin. Cluny's tail banged down on the rotting lectern, smashing it into several fragments. And that's when we'll strike! The powerful tail lashed backward, wrapping itself around Shadow's body. He was dragged forward, face to face with his master. Cluny's rancid breath blasted into Shadow's face as he ground out each syllable. Bring that picture back to me. Do this, and your reward will be great when I sit on the abbot's chair in Redwall. But fail me, and your screams will be heard far beyond the woodland and meadows. Cluny, the scourge, had spoken. So there you go. Next time, chapter 13. Until then.